Now since we will be calling functions on the fake NFT marketplace and crypto dev NFT contract, let's initialize variables for those contracts. Now let's initialize those variables here as we are using these two interfaces. Here it is. We are creating a variables that we will use to call the above functions. Now let's create a constructor function that will initialize those contract variables and also accept an Ethereum deposit from the deployer to fill the DOA Ethereum treasury. In the background, since we imported the ownable contract, this will also set the contract deployer as the owner of this contract. So this is the constructor which will call one time when we are going to deploy our contract. So in this constructor we will going to uh, we will create a payable constructor which initialize the contract instances for fake marketplace and crypto dApps here, and the payable allow the constructor to accept an Ethereum deposit when it is deployed. At the time of deployment, we are going to deposit Ethereum in this contract, so that's why we have add this keyword payable here. Okay. Now let's move on. Now since we have a pretty much all of our other function to only be called by those who own NFTs from the crypto NFT contract, we'll create a modifier to avoid duplicating code. Okay, so why we are adding modifier? So create a modifier which only allow a function to be called by someone who's own at least one crypto dev NFT. So we will use this modifier in uh, other functions. Let's see where we are going to use it. Is basically check that whether this member which is calling any function which have this modifier have already have crypto def NFTs that we have previously deployed and implemented. So this is just a condition that will check that whether user is allowed to proceed after this condition or not. So now let's move on to next step. We now have enough to write create proposal function which will allow members to create new proposal. Now let's create a function about creating a proposal. So here it is. Create proposal allow a crypto dev holder to create a new proposal in the DOA NFT token ID, the token ID of the NFT to be purchased from the fake NFT marketplace. If this proposal passes, the proposal index for the newly created proposal, that's the return value. So here is a condition which check that from the NFT marketplace whether this token is available, yes, this is available or not. If not, then it will give the message of NFT not for sale. Otherwise, it will create yes, it will create a struct variable, and we have passed a token ID in it, set token ID to it, and set the proposal voting deadline to be current timestamp plus 5 minutes, and also setting up the deadline of the proposal. So here it is. First, the token ID of NFT to purchase from marketplace. If the proposal passes, the Unix timestamp which the proposal is active, proposal can be executed after deadline has been executed. Here it is. Now let's move on. Now vote on proposal. We want to add additional restriction that the proposal being voted on must not have had its deadline exceeded. To do so, we will create a second modifier. Let's create another modifier. Here it is. Here. Okay. Create a modifier which only allows a function to be called if the given proposal deadline has not been exceeded yet. Okay, so let's see where we are going to use this modifier. Now, how this modifier takes a parameter. Additionally, since a vote can only be one of two values, yay or nay, we can create an enum representing possible options. Now let's create enum with the values of vote YY and NAV. Now let's write the vote on proposal function. Now let's copy this function and read it. Okay. Vote on proposal allow a crypto dApps holder to cast their vote on an active proposal. Proposal index, the index of the proposal to vote on in the proposals array. The type of vote they want to cast. Okay, this function used for voting on particular proposal. So here it is, what it's taking as a parameter: proposal index and vote means proposal ID. Here it is, the proposal index, which will grab the struct, then voter NFT balance, check the NFT balance of voter, that whether the voter have already have NFT or not. Only those can vote who have NFTs. So first grab it. Okay, now let's uh, so here you can see that we have used NFT holder only modifier. Here it is, we have also used it here also. So it's ensure that those members which have already have NFTs only can create proposal, and as well as they only can they can only vote for proposal, vote on proposals. And here we can see the additional modifier, which is active proposal only. So is just check that the proposal on which user is going to vote is active or not. So basically we are setting a deadline of every proposal when we post it. So excuse me, so this deadline should not be exceeded, which is at a time of adding this proposal plus 5 minutes. Within 5 minutes this proposal will be expired. So if this condition not met, then user will not able to vote on this particular uh, proposal. Now let's calculate how many NFTs are owned by voter that haven't already been used for voting on this proposal. Now let's check the number of NFT that's owned by user, uh, and take this balance, and we have created a loop here where we are taking the token ID of each NFT and check that token ID inside the voter section, that it's uh, that that the particular NFT is already be used for voting or not, for voting a proposal or not. So if it's not used, then we will increment the number of votes, which is here. If voting type is web, then we have incremented the vote here, and if voting type is NAY, means no, so here we will increment number here. So here it is. uh, that's the voters. Yes, so that is the voters mapping inside the proposal, which have complete mapping uh, of the token ID or the NFT ID that is used for voting. So here it is. Okay, as all members have unique token, so they have unique token ID, so it's checking the token IDs that of each NFT, that whether this NFT is used for voting or not.